June is a spoiled heiress of a hotel empire enjoying her time in Greece. She's on vacation mode so hard that the waiter has to serve her a telephone so she can answer the 100th call from her manager. She refuses to come back no matter what the emergency till the manager somehow orders her to. At the airport, her assistant tells her that the stock crash led to their business a downfall, and now all the assets inherited from her by her parents have been frozen. He cuts down her credit card and takes away her phone. All June has left is an old car inherited by an uncle and a key-shaped locket by her favorite Aunt Bertie. The next few days, June messes up on multiple jobs because she doesn't know how to work and is currently living in that old car. She tries to sell her designer clothes, but it's not enough to get her a house. Plus, she tried selling them in a jewelry store, so she was dumb. Finally, noticing that the key-shaped locket is a key, she goes to the bank and realizes that it is a key to the box carrying papers that say Bertie passed her house to June's name. Happy that she has a house finally, she hits the road to Greenville right away. Entering the house, she's looking around when a pig near the window surprises her. A man, Bart, comes into the house telling her that the pig, Jillian, is a frequent visitor, but won't come inside the house. Considering him Bertie's staff, starts ordering him around to bring in her bags and prepare for her a very special meal. Bart finally manages to stop her and tell her he's Bertie's neighbor and not staff. He is just taking care of the place with his sister Nina because Bertie requested it from them. However, he is nice enough to still bring the bags in. Later, June meets Nina and they hit it off nicely. In a conversation with Bart, June gets to know how Aunt Bertie lives a simplistic life with no servants and grandeur, contrary to what was seen whenever Bertie visited them. The next day, Bart takes her to visit the town when they come across an old lady, Dottie. Dottie is nice and polite till she gets to know June as Bertie's niece. June cannot even fathom the change of situation as Dottie starts talking about some competition that Bertie always used to snatch. But now that she's gone, and Dottie is sure June doesn't know how to do anything, all the blue ribbons will belong to her. June gets annoyed at that and challenges Dottie that she can keep up with Bertie's legacy. Poor Bart is just left to give expressions in that situation. Later, Bart takes her to show how many blue ribbons Bertie won at the Harvest Country Fair. She also sees Jillian's mother's picture for the livestock show category. June starts with learning how to make sandwiches. After that, she's having champagne with Nina, and they're talking about this incident till Nina helps her sign up for every category in the fair. She then tells her Bertie left her apple pie recipe as well. So all June needs to do is perfect it, which is easier said than done. Nina then goes to Bart, and the two talk about how Bart is going out of his way to help June out, which isn't something he usually does. They feel sad that June grew up amongst employees and servants rather than loved ones. Nina decides to find links to Bertie's lineage so that June can get to know the people she can call her family. June tries to make Bertie's pie with her disastrous cooking skills. She somehow manages to not blow up the kitchen, but has the confidence to directly go to her taste tester Bart without even trying it on her own. Bart's reaction clearly says it's not good, but June tells him to give an open opinion for her to improve. Listening to his list of shortcomings, June is disappointed in herself. Bart tells her there's time and they can improve it for sure. Now that she has help, June feels better about trying again. Bart teaches her how to improve the crust, also making her notice the notes about the details on the back of the recipe page. He then asks her to pick other categories and June chooses all. As Bart leaves, June decides to be more like Bertie and gets out of her designer clothes into some of Bertie's clothes. June is then trying to make Jillian respond to her words when Bart walks up to her. After talking about stuff in their lives, Bart offers to teach her how to eat off the land. Of course, June has to ensure it isn't something literal and they'd be eating on plates. She then meets Bart by the chickens. Bart is surprised to see her in perfect Bertie attire. He then shows her how to get eggs from under the chicken. Seeing her interact with the chickens is a sight very similar to when Bertie used to do it. Later, the two of them have lunch together and talk about each other. When Bart meets Nina, she is busy creating a family tree for June. Bart accepts that he feels connected to June as if both of them had something missing from their lives and are finding it now. June and Bart once again come across Dottie, and June gets to know that a photo of the winner is placed in the farmer's market as well. She goes to see the picture of her Aunt Bertie. Seeing her emotional, Bart promises to help her compete, but June is surprised that the fair is so close since she never saw the date. In the next few days, Nina and Bart help June learn and be better for the competition. One day before the competition, June puts the apple pie by the window to help it cool down overnight. At nighttime, hearing some commotion, she comes out of her room and finds the pie fallen upside down. There's also a very bad cover-up of it being a raccoon with Dottie's footprints. Not having any other choice, June bakes the pie once again and prepares to carry the stud to the fair. Bart is worried that June might get into some trouble while coming there, which is amusing to Nina. As June finally arrives, she shares the story with Bart. Dottie comes to them, making June indirectly throw a shade at her. June is nice enough to not create a scene about it. However, she can see Dottie copying everything about Bertie, up to the type of plates and setting of the pie. As the fair begins, the judge, Wendy, is happy to see Bertie's niece since she was a friend of Bertie. But this doesn't mean June will get any leniency. Her hen category loses some points because of a cage regulation that June didn't know about. Seeing Jillian, Wendy snorts, making June wonder if this was a happy snort or a bad snort, since they have put a cute flower crown on Jillian's head. For the pie, Wendy takes a lot of time to comprehend the taste of the pie and ends up mentioning the improper cooling. June is dejected by all that, but Bart and Nina help her feel better, reminding her Bertie will still be proud of all that she's done so far. At the time of results, Dottie wins the flower arrangement and hen show, while Bart wins the root veggies category. For the apple pie, Wendy expresses how she got to eat the best apple pie in the entire world, and how she could eat it every Thanksgiving her entire life. Dottie is stepping ahead in confidence, but all that breaks into embarrassment when June's name is announced. As for the last category, Best in Show Livestock, hands down, Jillian turns out to be the winner. And just like that, Bertie's farm wins the most ribbons, making June the best overall in the fair. As she comes home, June has posted pictures on her socials and is getting popular about it. She receives a call from a farm equipment company, telling her they'd like Jillian to be their unique mascot and model for their brand. She gets on a call with her manager regarding this contract, only to get to know her grandfather was a wise man who had contributed some stocks back in the 1980s, and they had grown immensely by now. Enough that a private jet can come to pick her up any time now. June goes to Bart and tells him to meet her in a suit by the evening. She then takes him in a car to a helicopter to celebrate their victory. In a music show, she has rented out the entire arena for the two of them. She then shares the Jillian gig and the stocks things with Bart and proceeds to tell him that she wants him to travel the world with her since she has feelings for him. However, Bart refuses to leave Greenville, telling her he expects her to stay with them in the future. Later on, June decides to leave, but it takes her only to reach the airport and have her assistant talk about fashion shows and bougie lifestyle to realize she wants to live in Greenville. When she comes back, Nina and Bart are not at home. Surprisingly, she finds Nina in her house with a lot of guests. Turns out it was a surprise party for June that June almost missed. Nina had hunted down all of Bertie's relatives so she could introduce June to her bloodline. After meeting everyone, Nina makes June meet the last cousin of Bertie, who is none other than Dottie. Dottie expresses how much Bertie loved June, and it was the grief of June's parents' death that kept her away from June. She expresses fondness for Bertie, and now June, but competition runs in their blood, so everything is fair in love and apple pies. June then goes out with Bart, expressing her love for him and her intent to stay in Greenville. In this life-changing scenario, June finally got a place of love that she could call her home.